Students, welcome to Short Sir classes. This is Himadri Datta. So in today's lecture, we'll be solving a few questions from economic past year solution. So we'll solve a few MCQs. So the first MCQ will start with this question. So in this question, it is given it is given accelerator model. So it is given accelerator model and multiplier stand for 4 options are given. The same thing and cause an increase in output of the economy. Second option, same thing and cause an increase in the investment with increase in output. The option C says it is different things, with the first causing a change in investment due to change in output and the second causing a change in output due to a change in investment. And the fourth option says that is different things, with the first causing a change in output due to a change in investment and the second causing a change in investment due to a change in output. So now what I'll do is I'll simply write down this question once so that it will be easier for you to understand. So in this question it is given accelerator model. So it is given accelerator model and multiplier stands for option A is given as they both are same, that is A is equals to M. I am denoting it by A is equals to M when I am referring to they both are same thing and they cause an increase in output of the economy, and this option say it cause an increase in output of the economy, and the option B says they both are same and they cause an increase in investment of the economy. So option A says A is equals to M. Option B also says A is equals to M, which says cause in increase in income, and the second option says it causes increase in investment. Now option C goes with the understanding that they both are not same, rather they are different, and it says the first one, that is accelerator model, cause what? It causing a change in investment due to a change in output. It says change in investment due to change in output, and the multiplier does what? It is basically changing output or Y due to change in investment. And the last option is completely different, which says they both are different but this opposite thing takes place, that is A is what? Changing output due to changing investment, and this one is changing investment due to changing output. So these 4 options are given. First of all, we need to understand what that is. Accelerator model is what? Accelerator model, both have different meaning. So first of all, we need to understand what that is. Accelerator and multiplier, they both are different thing. Accelerator and multiplier, they both are different. That is the first thing we need to understand, that is they both are different. Now we know that accelerator model does what? It does measure the change in investment due to change in output. It measures change in investment due to change in output. So it looks like this. Accelerator model is basically what? It is basically A is what? Change in investment due to change in output. Whereas multiplier measures initial change in spending to total change in the activity which will result. So multiplier on the other hand measures initial change in spending to the total change that takes place. So it is what? Option C seems to be the right answer. That is accelerator model and multiplier. Both of them, first of all, they are different. They are not same. And the second thing is that accelerator model is what? Change in investment due to change in income. And multiplier is what? Change in income due to change in investment. So for this reason, we would conclude that option for question number 1, the right answer is option C. Again, I will repeat the question once again. It is given accelerator model and multiplier stand for 4 options are given. The same thing, which is not, it is not the same thing. What I'll do is I'll simply read the last 2 options which say they are different. So it says, the option C says they are different things, with the first causing change in investment due to change in output. The first accelerator model is what? Change in investment due to change in output. And the second causing change in output due to change in investment. And multiplier is what? Change in output due to change in investment. And the last option is this is the opposite of what the option C says, which says different things, with first causing a change in output due to a change in investment, and second causing a change in investment to a change in output. So for this reason, we would conclude accelerator model basically measures change in investment due to change in output, and multiplier measures change in income due to change in investment. So in this video, we solved one question. Now we'll go to the next question. So in this question, it says, if fiscal policy of an economy be 3% of GDP, and if the current account deficit also be 3% of GDP, in a particular year for the economy, then its aggregate saving must be equal to aggregate investment. The above statement is true, false, necessarily true, and not necessarily true. So we have to find out whether this statement is true or not. So for that, first I have to rub this off. Then I will write down the question once and I'll explain the question first thoroughly. Okay. So in this question, it is given, that is, if fiscal deficit of an economy be 3% of GDP, so it is given, if fiscal policy of an economy is given as 3% of GDP, if fiscal policy of economy is given as 3% of GDP, if current account deficit also be 3% of GDP in a particular year for the economy, for that economy, if current account deficit is also 3% of GDP in that particular year, then what happens is that then its aggregate saving must be equals to aggregate investment. So then its aggregate savings must be equals to aggregate investment. So we have to find out which one, whether this is true or false, or necessarily true or not necessarily true. So there are 4 options which we have to find out. So first of all, we know that fiscal deficit is equals to, so we know that fiscal deficit is equals to the borrowing made by the government. So fiscal deficit is what? It is basically equals to the borrowing that is made by the government. So fiscal deficit is what? It is basically borrowing made by the government. And current account deficit signifies the excess of import over export. And current account deficit is what? It is excess of import over export. Now borrowing of government will increase money supply by 3% and current account deficit will decrease money supply by 3%. So we know borrowing of government, which is this will increase the money supply by 3% and current account deficit, that is the excess of import over export, will decrease the money supply by 3%. So for this we know, that is, if fiscal policy of an economy is 3%, which eventually means what? That is the borrowing made by government is 3%. So by borrowing, government does what? It does increase the supply of money. By what? How much? By 3%. So they will ultimately increase the money supply by 3%. And we also know that is CAD, which is current account deficit, is what? Excess of import over export. So by doing that, it will decrease the money supply by 3%. So you would conclude that there were 4 options, whether true. There were 4 options. Option A was true. Option B was false. Option C was necessarily true. And option D was not necessarily true. So out of which we know this statement is right, that is aggregate supply is equals to aggregate demand at equilibrium. So in today's video we solved 2 questions from previous year's solution from economics. So I hope you guys have got it. If you still have any query or doubt, you can simply WhatsApp me on this number, which is 9836793076, or you can also go to our website, which is www.showdopsersclasses.com. There you will find a lot of other videos like this, and you will also get to see a lot of other materials which are needed for different entrance exams. So thank you for watching this video. Have a nice day ahead.